The Unforgettable Disappearance of Erin Holloway, Cold Spring, New York, 2011. On a frostbitten evening in early December 2011, 26-year-old Erin Holloway walked out of her apartment in Cold Spring, New York, and was never seen again. Her cell phone was left charging on the kitchen counter. Her coat was still hanging on the hook by the door. The only thing missing was Erin herself. If you're new to this channel, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as we dive into details of the disappearance of Erin Holloway. Nestled along the eastern banks of the Hudson River, Cold Spring, New York, is the kind of place people pass through, not usually the place they disappear from. A quiet village with fewer than 2,000 residents, it boasts antique shops, cozy cafes, and postcard views of the river. But when winter rolls in, Cold Spring changes. The tourists vanish. The trees stand bare against gray skies. And in the early evenings, the town can feel almost forgotten, suspended in a kind of stillness. It was in that quiet, snow-dusted setting that Erin Holloway disappeared without a trace. Erin was 26 years old, petite, soft-spoken, and fiercely independent. Friends describe her as gentle but determined, the kind of person who kept to herself but never ignored a friend in need. She'd lived in a modest second-story walk-up on Fair Street for nearly 3 years, working remotely as a freelance graphic designer while volunteering part-time at the local library. Her life, by all accounts, was quiet, predictable, even safe. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, those closest to Erin began to notice small shifts. She'd recently ended a long-distance relationship. Her social media activity had slowed to almost nothing. And though she was never especially outgoing, she had started declining even casual invitations, turning down dinner plans, and skipping weekly Zoom calls with her sister in Portland. Her landlord, Marjorie Levine, a retired schoolteacher who lived below Erin's unit, later told investigators that she'd heard Erin pacing at night, sometimes for hours, and that her blinds were often drawn, even during the day. Still, nothing stood out as alarming, at least not until December 3rd. That day, temperatures had dropped below freezing by nightfall. Around 5:45 p.m., Erin's neighbor across the hall, a 40-year-old mechanic named Jesse Paulson, reported hearing what he described as a soft knock, followed by the click of Erin's door closing. That sound, according to his later statement, will be the last time anyone confirmed her presence. The following morning, when Erin didn't show up for her volunteer shift at the Butterfield Library, concern began to grow. One of the staff members, a woman named Rachel Miles, called Erin's phone, no answer. She texted, no response. After a full day without contact, Rachel stopped by the apartment and knocked. No sound, no movement inside. Thinking Erin may have gone out unexpectedly, Rachel left a note on the door. It wasn't until late the next day, December 5th, that someone officially reported Erin missing. That call was made by her older sister, Lisa Holloway, after multiple failed attempts to reach her over the weekend. The Putnam County Sheriff's Department responded just before midnight. Inside Erin's apartment, deputies found no immediate signs of a struggle. Her phone was on the counter, screen dark but charged. Her purse was on the floor beside her desk, untouched. Her winter coat was still hanging on the wall hook near the door. The heating was on. The place was clean, almost eerily so, but otherwise ordinary. One detail did raise eyebrows. A half-finished cup of chamomile tea on the windowsill, still faintly warm when officers arrived, an indication that whatever happened to Erin, it hadn't occurred long before police got there. A missing person report was officially filed that same night. Case No. PCSD 113482. Erin Holloway. White female. 5 feet 4 inches. Approximately 120 pounds. Brown eyes. Dark auburn hair. Last seen wearing black yoga pants and a gray hoodie. No known history of mental illness or substance abuse. Within 24 hours, flyers were circulating in town and adjacent counties. Search teams combed nearby hiking trails, particularly around Little Stony Point and Breakneck Ridge, places Erin was known to frequent during warmer months. A dive team was even brought in to scan the shallow stretches of the Hudson, though winter conditions severely hampered visibility. But there was nothing, no footprints in the snow, No witnesses, no camera footage. That part, investigators found particularly strange. Cold Spring has minimal surveillance infrastructure, but it isn't devoid of it. A handful of cameras positioned outside local businesses, mostly along Main Street, recorded footage the night Erin vanished. None captured her. A private camera mounted above a bicycle shop, facing Fair Street, showed the sidewalk in front of Erin's building from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. that evening. The footage revealed 3 people passing by on foot and 1 delivery vehicle. Erin wasn't among them. It was almost as though she'd vanished inside the building. When detectives reviewed her phone records, they found that her last outgoing message had been a brief email to a client at 5:17 p.m. the evening she disappeared. The message contained a link to a revised version of a website design. Nothing about it suggested distress. Her browser history showed several mundane activities: checking the weather, looking at recipes, briefly skimming an article about seasonal depression. At 5:41 p.m., the activity ceased. Her laptop was closed and never opened again. Her family, friends, and coworkers were all interviewed in the following days. Erin's sister Lisa described their last conversation as normal, just a little off. She said Erin had mentioned feeling tired, not sleeping well, that she was trying to be more social and thinking about visiting soon. But she hadn't expressed fear or discomfort. One former boyfriend, David Malloy, the man she dated for nearly a year before ending things at October, was briefly considered a person of interest. He lived in Poughkeepsie, about 35 miles away. According to his statement, he hadn't spoken to Erin in over a month. His alibi for the evening of December 3rd checked out. He was at his brother's house, attending a small birthday gathering. Multiple attendees confirmed this. Another point of interest came when investigators examined a spiral-bound notebook found in Erin's nightstand drawer. On the final page, she'd written a short, fragmented message. Hard to tell what's real lately. Waking you, not sure where I am. Voices on the stairs again. It's probably just the pipes. But what if it's not? The message prompted renewed investigation into the apartment building itself, a 4-unit structure built in 1939. An inspection revealed nothing unusual. No hidden passageways, no crawl spaces, just creaking pipes and old walls. Other tenants reported no disturbances, no unusual activity. The building, in the words of Detective Aria Moreno, was just old. Not haunted, not unsafe. Just old. Still, the entry raised troubling questions. Was Erin experiencing hallucinations? Paranoia? Or was someone watching her, entering the building undetected? As weeks turned into months, the case began to stagnate. Erin's bank account remained untouched. Her credit card showed no activity. No ransom demand was ever made. And no confirmed sightings ever emerged, not in New York, not anywhere. By spring 2012, the sheriff's department quietly shifted the case from active investigation to pending. Though officially still open, leads had dried up. The file was moved to cold case storage under Code CS 12H, Erin H. To this day, theories abound. Some believe Erin may have walked out her apartment in a fugue state, driven by exhaustion or stress, and succumbed to the elements. Others suggest a darker scenario: an unknown intruder, someone familiar enough with the building to enter and exit without being seen. A few hold to a more unsettling belief that Erin never left the apartment at all, that somewhere in the layers of that old building or beneath the surface of that quiet town, a secret remains, one that time and silence had conspired to keep. But in the cold light of reality, the truth is simpler and sadder. Erin Holloway is still missing. No trace, no closure, no peace. Only a fading photograph on the community bulletin board at the library, beside a yellowing flyer with the words, "Have you seen Erin?" There's a moment, a sliver in time, when everything seems normal until it isn't. December 3rd, 2001 was one of those days. The day Erin Holloway disappeared began with snow. Light flurries had dusted Cold Spring, New York, by dawn, leaving behind a thin sheen of frost over rooftops and sidewalks. The sun rose quietly, casting long gray shadows across the Hudson River. It was the kind of early December day where nothing much happened, still forgettable, But for the people who knew Erin, that day would never be forgotten. 7:32 a.m., routine silence. Marjorie Levine, Erin's 71-year-old landlord, awoke to the creak of the old radiator heating up below her bedroom window. She told investigators later that she hadn't heard any unusual sound that morning. No arguments, no movement above her, just the normal groans of the building waking with the day. According to digital logs, Erin's phone connected to her home Wi-Fi at 7:19 a.m., and her laptop was open at 7:26 a.m. Internet activity shows she checked her email, skimmed 2 news articles, and visited a local weather site. The forecast predicted a low of 24 degrees Fahrenheit by nightfall. She didn't Google directions. She didn't look up bus schedules. No sign she was preparing to leave town. 9:18 a.m., a familiar face. Rachel Miles, a librarian at the Butterfield Library, told police she received a short text from Erin confirming she'd be in for her usual Saturday volunteer shift from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. That message would be Erin's final confirmed outgoing communication on her phone. At 10:36 a.m., security footage from the library's back entrance shows Rachel entering alone. By 11 a.m., with no sign of Erin, Rachel assumed she decided to skip. It wasn't like her to miss a shift, she later said, but I figured maybe she wasn't feeling well. 12:03 p.m., last public sighting. Local resident Tom Becker, 62, reported seeing Erin standing in front of LeClaire's Deli on Main Street just after noon. She was alone, wearing a gray hoodie, holding what looked like a small paper bag. Tom described her demeanor as quiet, distracted, adding that she didn't seem to notice him. Police were never able to confirm this sighting with footage. LeClaire's exterior camera hadn't been operational since October due to wiring issues. But Tom, a former volunteer firefighter and lifelong Cold Spring resident, was considered a reliable witness. That moment would mark the last time anyone saw Erin Holloway outside her apartment. 3:41 p.m., an unused ticket. Investigators discovered that Erin had reserved a seat on a local Metro North train, departing from Cold Spring Station at 4:15 p.m., scheduled to arrive in Beacon just 14 minutes later. The purpose of the trip remains unclear. She never boarded. The electronic ticket went unused. Railway CCTV confirmed she never passed through the station platform entrance. Officers reviewed the footage multiple times. There was no sign of her approaching or departing from the area. 5:17 p.m., the final digital footprint. Digital forensic analysis from Erin's laptop indicates that she sent a final work email to a freelance client at 5:17 p.m., attaching an updated version of a website design. The message was brief and professional, with no unusual language or indication of distress. At 5:19 p.m., the laptop was closed. It would not be powered on again. 5:42 p.m., the door closes. Jesse Paulson, Erin's neighbor across the hall, heard what he described as a light knock, followed by the soft sound of a door latching shut. He couldn't say whether it was Erin leaving or someone else arriving, but he remembered the moment because, he said, it was unusually quiet for a Saturday night. The next 10 minutes are the most heavily scrutinized in the timeline. At 5:44 p.m., the motion-activated security light at the building's rear stairwell flickered on, then off, indicating brief movement. By 5:50 p.m., snow began to fall again, thin, wind-driven flakes that would quickly coat the streets. No footprints were ever recovered outside Erin's building. 6 p.m., an empty apartment. What followed was silence. Erin made no more calls, sent no more messages. No lights were seen switching on or off from her apartment. No movement was heard through the ceiling by Marjorie Levine. When Rachel Miles texted her again around 7:30 p.m., the message was marked delivered but never read. By Sunday morning, that phone had gone completely silent. December 5th, 2011, the official report. At 11:42 p.m., Lisa Holloway, Erin's older sister in Portland, Oregon, called the Putnam County Sheriff's Department. After 2 days of silence, she was convinced something was wrong. Deputies arrived at Erin's apartment within 20 minutes. Inside, nothing was out of place. A small, untouched grocery bag from LeClaire's Deli sat on the kitchen counter, likely the one Tom Becker had seen her carrying. Her phone was charging. Her coat, boots, and purse were all present. The heating was still on. Her bed was neatly made. A single mug of chamomile tea sat cooling by the living room window. According to initial field notes from responding Deputy Carla Wynn, the scene lacked any sign of disturbance or struggle. No broken locks, no overturned furniture, no evidence of self-harm. Apartment secured. No immediate signs of foul play. But Erin was gone. The investigation begins. December 6, 2011, 8:15 a.m., the missing persons report was entered into the state database. PCSD 11-3482, Holloway, Erin L. White female, 5 feet 4 inches, 120 pounds. Last seen December 3rd, 2011, Cold Spring, New York. Sheriff's detectives began interviewing neighbors, co-workers, and friends. Canvassing teams knocked on every door in a 6-block radius. The Hudson Highland Search and Rescue Team was deployed with dogs and thermal drones. Despite fresh snowfall, they scoured the wooded trails north of the village and along the riverbank. No scent, no tracks, no physical evidence recovered. Her car, a silver 2004 Toyota Corolla, was still parked out front undisturbed. It was locked. No print on the handle but her own. Theories and red herrings. Two main theories dominated early police speculation. One, voluntary disappearance. Some investigators initially suggested Erin may have left on her own, possibly to clear her head after a breakup. But this theory quickly lost steam. Erin left behind her ID, wallet, and phone. No travel records. No cash withdrawals. No prior indications that she was planning to leave. Her sister Lisa was adamant. She was private, yes, but she wouldn't disappear without telling someone. She wasn't that kind of person. 2, an unknown visitor. The possibility of an unknown individual entering the apartment, perhaps through the rear stairwell, was heavily explored. But again, no prints, no witness reports, no signs of forced entry, and no surveillance footage shows any visitors. False lead number 1, the van driver. On December 8th, a woman reported seeing a dark van parked on the street near Erin's building around the time of her disappearance. The tip sparked a brief flurry of investigation, but footage from a nearby parking lot revealed it belonged to a visiting contractor who'd left town that night. False lead number 2, the journal entry. Investigators were briefly led down a darker path after discovering Erin's cryptic note in her. Holloway's case, there are too many, yet not a single one fits just right. When 28-year-old Erin vanished from her small Cold Spring apartment on a snowy December day in 2011, she left behind more than just a cold mug of tea and an unused train ticket. She left behind a fractured timeline, a deeply unsettled community, and a swirl of questions that is yet to settle. What happened between 5:17 p.m., when she sent her last known email, L, and 5:44 p.m., when her building's motion light flickered briefly, then died back into stillness? As we continue to examine the case of Erin Holloway, we turn now to 3 of the most plausible and chilling theories that have emerged over the years. Each one is grounded in fact, each one with a fatal flaw, and still each one is possible. Theory 1, the quiet abduction. Profile, sudden disappearance, no witnesses, no struggle. From the beginning, law enforcement considered the possibility that Erin was abducted. But if so, the how remains one of the most perplexing aspects of this case. Her apartment showed no signs of forced entry. The front door was locked from the inside. Windows were sealed shut. No screams were heard. No struggle reported. Her purse, coat, phone, and wallet all untouched. So how does someone disappear so cleanly, so quietly? Detective Arthur McKinnon, the lead investigator on the case at the time, described it as the kind of vanishing that haunts seasoned cops, because there's no trail. It's like chasing vapor. Still, certain facts point toward foul play. The rear stairwell light, activated at 5:44 p.m., shortly after Erin's laptop was closed. Police believe this could have been the exit path, either Erin's or someone else's, but no prints, no DNA, and no camera footage to confirm who passed through. The knock, Jessie Paulson, her across-the-hall neighbor, reported hearing a knock and a door latch around 5:42 p.m. Was it someone she knew? Someone she trusted enough to open the door for? Or someone pretending? The van theory revisited. Though initially dismissed, a 2020 Freedom of Information request revealed that a second witness, as a former post office employee, also reported seeing a dark van idling near the alleyway behind Erin's building that same evening, just after dusk. This detail was never confirmed, and the timeline remained circumstantial. But its presence haunts the theory. Could she have been lured or forced into a waiting vehicle? Then there's a behavioral profile. Erin had no enemies, no known stalkers. But abductions aren't always personal. Some are opportunistic, quick, without warning. And as former FBI profiler Helena Graves once said in a podcast about the case, in small towns, people assume the devil wears a name tag, but sometimes it's just a stranger with timing. Still, the abduction theory falters when placed against the stillness of her apartment. No signs of resistance, no dragging, no disarray. If she was taken, she either left willingly or was somehow silenced before she could cry out. And that's the part that continues to disturb investigators. Not just that Erin may have been abducted, but that she may have known the person responsible. Theory 2, voluntary disappearance. Profile, isolation, secret plans, mental health, emotional withdrawal. The second leading theory, Erin left of her own volition. To many close to her, this is the least convincing explanation. But certain threads can't be ignored. The journal entry, hard to tell what's real lately, voices on the stairs again. Found in a notebook tucked in her nightstand drawer. The phrasing suggests a fracture, either emotional or possibly even psychological. The missed train. Erin had a Metro North e-ticket scheduled to depart at 4:15 p.m. to Beacon. She never used it. But did she plan to leave and then change her mind? The unopened letters. Investigators found 4 sealed envelopes in Erin's desk, all addressed to friends and family, none mailed. The contents were never publicly disclosed, but sources close to the investigation confirmed the letters contained vague language about taking time and disconnecting to breathe. They were not suicide notes, nor were they explicit goodbyes, more like floating thoughts, suggestive of someone who felt distant or burdened. Some believe she planned a soft exit, to disappear quietly and reclaim some peace. But if so, how? She didn't drive. She left behind her phone and wallet. There were no ride shares ordered, no cash withdrawals, and no travel records. The security cameras at Cold Spring Station, her only plausible exit point, never recorded her. If she left, she did so in a way that defies logistics. A ghost exit. Then there's the contradiction of her recent activity. She was freelancing consistently, working on a new portfolio. She had a coffee date planned with Rachel Miles the following week. She'd even RSVP'd to a holiday party at the library. Not the behavior of someone preparing to vanish. Lisa Holloway, her sister, was adamant. If she was in pain, she never told me. But even if she was, Erin wouldn't do this to us. Not without a word. Which raises a question. Could momentary crisis have pushed her to leave? Or did something or someone push her over the edge? Theory 3, something unexplainable. Profile, patterns, location, folklore, unresolved cases. While this theory stretches the boundaries of logic, its persistence among locals can't be ignored. Cold Spring sits on the edge of the Hudson Highlands, a region dense with centuries-old trails, deep forests, and unsettling stories. Erin's building itself, a converted Victorian structure from the early 1900s, was rumored to be strange even before her disappearance. Marjorie Levine, her landlord, once said, "Sometimes you hear footsteps when no one's there." I chalk it up to creaky floors and old bones. But Erin once asked me if anyone else lived in the attic. There isn't one. Other tenants have since reported hearing unexplained sounds from the stairwell, scraping, low knocks, even whispers. Of course, these could all be old pipes and shifting wood. But the idea that Erin's disappearance fits into something larger stems from a pattern. Between 1996 and 2021, 4 other women between the ages of 25 and 35 were reported missing from small towns along the eastern bank of the Hudson River, within a 30-mile radius. Each case shares eerie similarities. Vanished during winter. No signs of foul play. No credible leads. Case is still unsolved. These disappearances aren't officially connected, but locals whisper about the Hudson vanishings. And though police treat these as separate incidents, some researchers have quietly compiled their own file, paralleling timelines, noting phases of the moon, temperatures, and even electromagnetic anomalies recorded by amateur investigators. None of this can be proven. There's no physical evidence of anything supernatural. But when a person disappears without a trace, without motive, without a single piece of physical proof, they leave behind space. And in that space, myths grow. Erin Holloway wasn't someone prone to magical thinking. She was logical, methodical, but the journal entry, the voices, the complete and total absence of evidence, it's enough to give some pause. Could something unseen have taken her? Or is that just our desperation speaking? Our human need to place stories on what we don't understand? A vanishing that defies logic. The problem with Erin Holloway's disappearance isn't a lack of clues. It's that none of them point anywhere. A deli bag is on the counter. A tea mug is cooling by the window. A laptop closed at 5:17 p.m. A motion sensor light that flickers once in the snow. No signs of a struggle. No signs of departure. No one saw her leave. No one heard her scream. It's as if she stepped sideways into a place where no one could follow. For her sister, for her friends, for the town of Cold Spring, time stopped in 2011. The seasons changed. Buildings were repainted. Tenants moved in and out. But Erin's absence remains frozen in place. Detectives still receive tips, though they've grown fewer over the years. Lisa Holloway keeps the case alive, speaking at local events, updating the Find Erin website, and maintaining a candle in her apartment window every December 3rd. But after 14 years, the silence has begun to settle. So what happened to Erin Holloway? Was it a tragic accident or something far more sinister? Drop your thoughts in the comments. For more content relating to horrors and missing cases, subscribe to the channel